If Atlanta, what do you call them? Arizona wins, we win it, flat out. If San Fran wins, it ends up a tie. So I'm guaranteed to at least get a tie, but I want the win. You know me. Never settle. Never settle. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. Whenever you're ready. You can introduce us.
Welcome to Torah Town, folks. This is the Torah Corral. We are live from the Torah Corral. This is Father Christmas with his merry elves. Ho, ho, ho. And a joyous season.
Wonderful time of the year.
This is Rabbi Rabs. I'm Levi Ben Abraham, aka Luke Ford. I just had some minor surgery on my nose on Friday, so I'm sounding a little weird. I think they cut out some membrane so I could breathe more easily.
Cut out part of your brain?
Membrane.
Oh, membrane.
And it's called turbinate reduction. Turbinate. And
what happens if I go like that really hard?
Don't fuck with me. And Rabs picked me up from the hospital. He brought me my pain medication. He was a total mensch.
I want to talk about that.
Okay.
When you're ready.
I'm ready. And this week's Torah portion is Miketz.
We'll get to that at the end.
Basically covers Genesis 41 to Genesis 44.
Oh, let's start talking about. I want to talk about. I pick up this guy at the hospital. First of all, you got to understand this guy.
Yeah.
He says, "Come, you don't even have to park, nothing. You just, I'll be waiting outside. You just come and you just roll the car by, and I put you in the car." And that's not exactly how it was. It's not exactly. More correctly was this: I got a call from a nurse.
Yeah.
And she said, "Okay, here's the deal. You need to come down and you need to pick up this guy's prescription." And I'm like, how did I end up being the person to pick up his prescription? Is that like normal? Is that?
I've never been picked up from the hospital before, so I don't know.
I know. I'm talking to her. I'm like, is that normal protocol that I go, like, I'm a total stranger and I'm going to go pick up his prescription? I said to her, well, why don't you go pick it up for him? Or why doesn't he pick it up for him? Like, when I had my operation, I came out, I went and got my own thing, you know, at Cedars. I went and got my own prescription. So she said, well, he's in a wheelchair. We can't expect him to go down there. And I'm like, you're the nurse. Why don't you go down there, right? And it's like, we can't. But I can, who's a total stranger off the street. So, okay, no problem. So I was like, where do I park? She's like, well, you're going to have to park in the structure. Well, that means I have to park in there, and I get there and it's costing money. So now it's no longer just driving up, right? So I get out of the car and I go in there, and there's like this long line. What's the matter?
Don't wave your hands so close to my face.
Okay. There's this long. Can I still tell the story? Okay. So there's this long line in the pharmacy for everybody to pick up their prescription. There's two lines. One to make your prescription. One just to pick it up. I'm in the line to pick it up, but there's a problem. They don't have a prescription like, you know, it's not on the board, you know, Levi Ford, and I go, hi, I'm Levi Ford. Nobody's come to the window and made this prescription. So I'm coming to the pickup, and they're like, well, who are you? And I'm like, I'm here for Levi Ford. They go, well, do you have your ID? And I'm like, no, I'm not Levi Ford. So they're like, we can't give anything to you. And I'm like, okay, this is just great, because the nurse said for me to go pick it up. So on the one hand, the nurse is telling me to pick it up, and on the other hand, the woman behind the counter at the pharmacy is saying that's not the way it's done here. So I get on my cell phone and I call the nurse back and I say, look, I'm down here at the pharmacy and I'm here to pick up this prescription that you told me to get, and I've waited in line for 15 minutes. I'm finally at the counter. I'm at the counter. Why are they telling me this is not the protocol? Go ahead. You want to interrupt?
Huh.
You obviously have something to say, so say it.
No, I'm just showing people this book so they can understand better. It's called Jewish as a Second Language. But
okay. So she says, well, I called the prescription down there. This is our protocol. And you're going to just show your ID. And I'm like, you know what? I've shown my ID. They're not impressed because it's not Luke Ford. They've asked for my what was the number? The number you have
medical record.
Your
number.
medical record number. I don't have it. She's like, wait a minute, I can get the medical record number. She gives it. I write it down. I transcript it, and I hand it over to the woman behind the counter. She doesn't care. I go, why don't you want to speak to her on the phone? She's like, I don't care. I need to see your picture. It doesn't. On the form going out, it says we can only give this to you because nowhere did anybody say anything different. So I can't come in off the street. So I'm like battling with them in the front of the line. People behind me in line are going like, come on already! And she's like, sir, you don't have what we need from you. You can't pick up this prescription. Nothing's going to help. I'm like, we want to speak to the nurse on the phone. So I'm going through like this whole rigmarole. So I guess the nurse on the other line called on the in-house phone and said, give it over to you. Give it to, like, change the status that somebody from the outside could pick it up. And then she just handed it over. And then she goes, okay, that'll cost you money. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not paying for it. I don't have any money on me. I can't pay for this thing. She's going, well, then we had to go like the whole phone again. We had to call the nurse from upstairs. And finally we got this whole thing done. I was in the pharmacy for over a half an hour. This is not exaggeration. And I'm not complaining as far as you are concerned. But this told me everything I need to know about socialized medicine. Because you belong to one of these HMO kind of plans, right? Where everything's like low, we're the low price leader.
Kaiser Permanente.
I wasn't going to say the name, but it's Kaiser. And it's all done low cost. And this is exactly how it would be done if the government took over. If the government took over, we would all have to go to places like this. It'd be like the DMV. Like, you ever want to see how bad the government can screw something up and how horrible and institutionalized it feels when you get there? Go to the DMV. Just go there to,
Go to the post office.
Go to the post office and stand in line with one for 40 minutes where there's one person behind the counter. Do you ever go to the one like on Pico and Roxbury?
Yeah.
Okay, there's one woman behind the counter, right?
Yeah.
There's like a line of 20 people. You'll stand there for a good half hour or so, waiting to how much does my letter cost? How much does it weigh? That's an investment of time, right? This is exactly how it would be when the government is. It would just be, everything would be like, the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. It's just a bunch of bureaucratic red tape. Everybody involved is incompetent. Everything they're doing goes against a certain protocol. It's not set up. You're going to be standing there. You're going to be waiting. It's going to drive you crazy. And then here's the final thing. You know about these WikiLeaks, right?
Yeah.
The WikiLeaks came out.
Yeah.
And it's like the most protected, top secret, stuff, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you. If you think your medical records are safe when the government takes over, forget it. You think that like you're safe. Oh, I just saw the government doctor today with the socialized healthcare. Everything's great. The next day, they think like it's all safe and everything. So it's going to be on WikiLeaks like 3 weeks later, And it's like, you went in there and you had like VD or something that you don't necessarily want everybody knowing about, right? Right? And it's like, Lady Ford, no, not you, but like somebody else, it's going to say like, oh, the guy's got AIDS or something. Maybe you don't want that public or something, Maybe you like, they said you need Viagra or maybe like, like you've got a 2-inch dick or something. Who knows, right? You don't want that public. It's on WikiLeaks the next day because the government cannot assure you that that it's really secret, because there are no secrets when the government has it, because they're incompetent. It's not because the government has conspiracies and plans. It's just that they're incompetent. The most incompetent service at any level of anything is the government. Because why is that?
Because there's no competition.
There's no competition. Well, the post office has competition from FedEx.
Very limited, but they have like a monopoly. You can't send mail.
No, because nobody else wants that business.
Well,
it doesn't really pay.
No one else can compete in that business.
You can't make any money. That's why the post office is always having to jack their rates.
Well, the average employee makes over $80,000 a year with benefits because they're so unionized. So it's ridiculous.
Right, and I'm sure the people at Kaiser make good money, and they're probably also just as incompetent.
No, I've had nothing but good experience with Kaiser.
Really? I was in there for 40 minutes for what should have been 5 minutes. You go into to Cedars, right? Right out of the waiting room.